All right, guys. Episode 15, Heart of the Order. The boys are back. The boys are back in town. Boys. That's a great song. Every time I hear that song, I'm like, all right, let's go. It's time to go. How are we doing today, guys? I'm not going to forget to ask how you guys are doing today, because normally I just get into everything and then Dre yells at me. I'm not going to forget about that today. So, guys, how are you doing on this lovely evening?
Well, thank you for asking. For 14 weeks, I've been waiting to pour my heart out to you guys.
I always forget.
But pushing along. The only thing different from last, week in terms of baseball and all that going on is getting played with our heartstrings. Lots going on outside in the world that's, tough to wrap our head around and deal with. But these times are just,
they're crazy.
no way to describe it.
It's wild.
It is. I'm doing all right too. Right now outside it's kind of depressing weather. It kind of fits the way that our society and our current events are right now with everything happening. But there will be sunny days ahead. Just gotta stay positive, have a good mindset, and just do the right thing every single day. But the bottom line is that for some of it we're seeing sort of a green light here, and some of us being in Allegheny County going green, so that's nice. So it'll be nice to have some sort of normalcy back in our daily routines. I see Brooks, he's wearing a Legendary t-shirt.
Just me and the boys bopping.
We're bopping. This is my we're going green shirt. If you hear any noise, it just means that we're bopping because we're in the green.
Same t-shirt, bro. It's Legendary. Shout out the man Dave.
So we're recording this Friday night or Thursday night, guys. The Vale, the Allegheny County is supposed to go green tomorrow. I saw a tweet on Twitter tonight, and it was like, our bar's supposed to be opening tonight at 12:01. I was like, that's a great.
The ones that are good business people.
That's a great question.
I would bet any money there's gonna be some.
At least one or two.
Find out.
At least one or two.
Carson City, Flats,
yep.
You name it. There are probably people there right now. They've been camping.
What's gonna be the first thing you guys do when we go green tomorrow? And again, we're recording this Thursday night, so this might not come out. This probably is going to come out till Monday. But what's the first thing you guys are going to do?
Probably watch TV.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be such a rush to things that are open.
Yeah, I'm going to take my time.
Restaurants, bars are going to be packed.
I might go to a gas station without a mask on and buy some beer.
Dude, Max, chill out, bro.
Wait, so do we still need a mask or no?
Be careful.
I think it's encouraged. I think it's encouraged that you still wear masks. But yeah. I might be a badass and just not wear a mask for one time and then wear a mask the rest of
the time. You just have one in your pocket. He's like, sir, can you please? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just going to be so weird when I got an email from LA Fitness today that the rare times I do go to the gym, it's like, we're opening. And small letters, 50% occupancy. You have to wear masks on. Big letters. You will be starting to get billed again. And I was like, crap.
Who wants to go to the gym?
I can figure out what to do with that.
Who wants to go to the gym and work out with a mask on like that? You know what? I breathe hard enough when I go and lift. I'm gonna be able to breathe with a mask on.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't care for green. I'm probably still gonna stick to my routine until I know things are safe.
The only thing I really want to do is go to a restaurant and sit outside of the restaurant and eat. That's the only thing I really want to do at this point.
Yeah, if I could know and you have to do it at a prime time. We're gonna be, if you want to do that, we're gonna have to be grandma and grandpa and eating dinner at 4:45.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think the big thing I want to do is see my barber, get a haircut.
That's a good point.
I knew that my man's was, cutting on the low,
Yeah.
but I held steady. I even experimented some things, shaving my face myself.
There you go.
I had a goatee, for some episodes, but I grew my beard back a little bit, so I might go get it shaped up, get my summer coat, nice and shiny. Get this mop or what's left of it trimmed, because I usually don't have my hair this long, but it's nice to have hair, I guess, considering I'm going bald. So
it's funny. That like, so obviously, like, no one can get a haircut right now in Pennsylvania, and like
legally.
Yeah, legally, and it's funny.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger.
It's it's funny to see some of the guys like you, Dre, I guess, where you don't really grow your hair out a lot. Like you normally keep it trimmed and keep it short. Like like Jeff Capel. I saw Jeff Capel today on Twitter, and like normally he's got that really like buzz cut kind of hair, and now it's like grown out, and it's like I've never seen Jeff Capel with like longer hair than like a buzz cut, and it's like it's kind of.
Wild times, man. When you stuck indoors, what's the point? Who do I gotta look nice for, I don't know, though.
Like, you're just in your house.
My hair was long at some points, so I, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago before I started, the high fade, I had a hard part, but the maintenance got too much, and sometimes it's just easier to go short, so.
All right. This is a baseball podcast, so I guess even though there's a lack of baseball right now, we should get into the baseball talk. So last time we talked, it was basically players, owners going back and forth, trying to come to some type of agreement in order to have baseball this season. I think the last time we talked, the players were putting some type of agreement together where they wanted to be paid more, play more games, things like that. I'm not sure actually what was official the last time we recorded. I can't remember. But they came forward with a 114 game proposal. They want to play more games. And then the owners rejected that today, just before we started, or probably earlier today before we started recording, and basically didn't even counter. They're not going to counter at this point. There's a couple things thrown around. I know Tony Clark, who's with the MLB Players Association, came out with a statement earlier tonight. I should have just pulled this up before I had it pulled up, and then it went away. I want to share this tweet from John Heyman to share the owner's standpoint. Let me find it again. So John Heyman talked to some type of executive today and came out and said the owners believe there are 2 or 3 ways to play. Players either accept or negotiate off owner's sliding scale 82 game proposal, which we talked about. I think it was 2 weeks ago at this point. And they're willing to talk about less than a 40% pay cut offered. Or at this point, they're talking about Commissioner Rob Manfred, who has still is like Harry Houdini. He's nowhere to be seen. He's just magically disappeared.
He's bunkered with Big Don.
They're talking about the commissioner mandating a very shortened season, which would be about 50 games or so. Let me find this other one. I was looking at it right before. Sorry about this. I should have been more prepared.
Hey,
that's okay. We got all the time in the world.
The same story.
Same story.
He was more focused on saying hi than he was preparing.
Right?
So my heart's taken care of. But now.
So 37 minutes ago, right before we started recording, Ken Rosenthal tweeted out a statement from Tony Clark with the MLB Players Association, and it basically said, I don't know if I need to read this whole thing. I'll read it anyway. In this time of unprecedented suffering at home and abroad, players want nothing more to get back to work and provide baseball fans with a game we all love, but we cannot do this alone. Earlier this week, MLB communicated its intention to schedule a dramatically shortened 2020 season unless players negotiate salary concessions. The concessions being sought are in addition to billions in player salary reductions that have already been agreed upon. This threat came in response to an association proposal aimed at charting a path forward. Among other things, players proposed more games, 2 years of expanded playoffs, salary deferrals in the event of a 2020 playoff cancellation, and the exploration of additional dual events and broadcast enhancements aimed at creatively bringing our players to the fans while simultaneously increasing the value of our product. Rather than engage, the league replied, it will shorten the season unless players agree to further salary reductions. There's another paragraph, but that's basically the gist of it. Guys, what do we think? Guys, you know me, I'm a very optimistic person. I always like to see the positive in things. But I'm really starting to get pessimistic. Like, I'm really starting to think there's not going to be a season because these guys just keep going back and forth. They're losing out on a chance to be one of the greatest sports right now. Everyone has the eyes on baseball. They're losing out on an opportunity because of money. It's really disappointing.
It is. I don't want to say stick a fork in them, mainly because of a tweet I saw. I don't know by who, but basically the tweet was that there will be baseball played this year because there's too much money at stake to lose for not only the owners, but the players. But the problem is how much are they willing to essentially settle on? I said this a couple weeks ago. I absolutely hate the fact that there's so much greed in the sport when it comes to money, but it's a capitalist league, so that opportunity presents itself. In the end, if you think about it, it's not even greed. It's more so just capitalizing on your value. And right now, I mean, the owners, their number one thing is the value is money. Not even now, even before the coronavirus stuff, it was always about money for them, no matter what. You saw teams cutting costs all the time. Pirates do it all the time. The Red Sox just did it by getting rid of Mookie Betts. Bottom line is this. When I look at this statement by the MLBPA, my whole summary basically taken from this is that I see the players sort of kind of, getting to the resolution that they need in order to, not the resolution that they want, but a resolution that they need in order to play baseball. They're not going to be happy regardless of the deal because the owners are standing firm, and I hate that. But I think in the end, whenever you have Tony Clark speaking out, and this is the first time I've actually seen him speak out on this, to me that just says that if he's speaking out on this, he's representing them and he's representing their feelings. I think there will be baseball. I just don't think it's going to be at the price that they're trying to get, and that sucks. Because in the end, it's always, no matter what sport it is, it's always about the players. But the owners making about themselves, and we maybe only know 5 owners in Major League Baseball. But we can name the 5th starter for the Oakland A's this year. It's just crazy.
So before we dive into this, speaking of the owners, and we kind of talked about this a little bit last week with, how much are the owners actually set to lose? And there was an article earlier this week with Chicago Cubs owner Tom Ricketts. And he basically came out and said, let me find it. The league itself does not make a lot of cash. I think there's a perception that we hoard cash and we take money out and it's all just sitting in a pile we've collected over the years. Well, it isn't, because no one anticipated a pandemic. No one expects to have a drawdown on the reserves from the past. Every team has to figure out a way to plug the hole. It basically goes on to say that, where is it?
Who is this owner again?
Tom Ricketts for the Chicago Cubs. Sorry.
He's a dipshit.
Yeah, he's a dipshit. He basically came out to say that they're the owners are basically, they cover their expenses and then they put money back into the team. So they basically don't make any profit, is what they're saying.
That's a lie.
That's exactly what I said when I read the article.
He's a dipshit. We're not morons. We're not idiots. We know how much money they make from concessions. We know how much.
Yeah.
We don't know how much specifically. We know they make money from concessions, specifically with the Cubs. Let's just talk to the Cubs right now. They sell out every game. The seats are crazy expensive. We're talking about a 40 to 45, maybe 50,000 stadium where they're filled, and it's every single night that place is packed. Mac, I believe you went there at Wrigley. How much do you pay for your tickets?
$70, and I was sitting in the bleach. I was sitting in like the corner in right field. Like,
yeah, like you're talking about outfield seats, $70.
Yeah.
Or which team? Who did you see?
The Cubs and who was it? The Rockies? No, it wasn't the Rockies. I can't remember. It was a good team though.
Yeah. Bottom line is that if you get Cubs Cardinals, those seats are probably 140.
I actually think it was the Cardinals.
Thursday afternoon.
Yeah. Like, so when I heard that, I was like, all right, if this guy's willing to go out and lie like this, like, what are the other owners doing? Like, the owners are just trying to get as much out of this as they can. Like, they're not going to budge whatsoever. And I think that's why I'm becoming more pessimistic about the situation, is because, like, they're not going to budge. Like, the players are going to end up budging. So if there's baseball this year, I think it's going to be, the players are going to be the reason that there's baseball this year is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Like, they're going to have to give in order to be able to step out on the field, risk their lives with everything with the coronavirus going on and play baseball. Like,
yeah, I feel like in the best case scenario, in Ricketts' statement, if it's anywhere near true, then he's a horrible business person. And it's not. We know that that's not the case with what he's saying with money. And I feel like at this point, the thing that makes me the most pessimistic, that's the direction I'm going in, is the fact that it's at the point now where it's like, and we will not send a counteroffer. And it's just both sides are just holding firm. And I get it that maybe just because of what's happening now as opposed to like previous labor disputes, this one is just looked at with like such a sharp magnifying glass because it's June during a pandemic and not December or January when other past MLB labor disputes have happened.
Yeah.
But it's just like this is gone. We've had so many different hypothetical scenarios and this going on and be like, oh, this offer is coming. What does that mean for the implication for this? Like, we're just like these girlfriends that our boyfriend's going to be like, oh, I'll take you on this date. We'll do this. We'll do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the date never happens. I'm just feeling strung along. And I feel like at a certain point, it's, 50-game season would be interesting, but it's like, it just like delegitimizes so much of like baseball. It'd just be like a total weird season. Like, if so, just don't even have it be like a World Series. Just have it be a huge tournament, like Dre said, like a month and a half ago. Like, it's no, like a 50-game season is a joke.
Yeah.
And the fact that
at that point you might as well just have like a tournament. Like 50 games, like.
And it's at the point now where either side is like, okay, we're done. Especially the owners have been like, we will not communicate anymore, because it seems like in their mind, they're like, okay, 50 games.
Yeah.
That's financially, sorry, this is a toenail clipper. That's financially, because when you said stick a fork in it, I was going to be like, well, I am.
Clip your toenails too.
But I feel like when they said 50 games, that was their way of being like, financially, this is how much we can afford, how many games we can afford to be losing money paying you guys your full salary. It's at 50.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to cut, we can't play any more games financially. It's like both sides are just done. And now we get to allow the human beanbag Rob Manfred to decide where we go from here. And it's just going to not end well.
Well, he should have been doing this in the first place. For Manfred to say, if you guys can't come to an agreement, this was going to be, he should have legitimately just done this from the get-go, because he's in charge of this. He's in charge of the sport of baseball. He's the commissioner. He's supposed to put his foot down and say, this is what we're going to do. When it comes to harsh penalties, that's what he's going to do. When it came to the Astros, he had no problem doing that, being on the forefront of that. When it came to the Red Sox investigation, he had no problem doing that. But in unprecedented times, when you have Ricketts talking about the money reserves that they don't have, meanwhile not opening up their books to prove it, which is a problem I also have with problem I have. Like, my man, Rob Manfred, come on. Like, this should have been solved 2 months ago. Maybe not 2 months ago because it's only June, and back then we didn't even know if there was going to be baseball. But we shouldn't be talking about labor disputes now. We should be talking about who's going to make it to the World Series, and gearing up for opening day and things like that. But instead, we're talking about, is baseball even going to be existing in this year and maybe beyond? It's crazy to me that the commissioner is just completely AWOL throughout all of this. But other issues, he's right there.
Right.
It's the biggest issue happening right now in the world in sports with the coronavirus. It's not the biggest, but it's taking a back seat, obvious reasons, but it's still out there. But my point is that he's nowhere to be found. Like, where are you, my man? Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you?
Put your foot down. Do something.
I see.
Do something and benefit both sides, because clearly they can't get it in. To me, it's the owners. It's not even the players. The players are just trying to get what they can because they know damn well, as much as we do, that the owners, despite them taking massive losses, just like every other company out there, it's not just you guys. It's literally everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They know, the players, they know that they're kind of screwed here. And they know if the owners don't play baseball, as they said, it's more beneficial. It might be more beneficial if they don't. They just said that this week, talking about not even doing it. The reason why they know that is because they know about their figures.
I brought that up last week. I was like, is there any chance like they're set to make more money, or not make, but lose less money if they don't play than if they actually play? Like, what if that's their motivation behind all of this?
Yeah, I think that's what we've all sort of been thinking. Like, all right, if an owner is going to be like, I'm going to lose $200 million if my finance numbers are off, or $250 million, they're going to be like, oh, I'll take $200 million and not play this year. But I'm just curious of, like, where does the market share win in playing right now would bite into that extra loss.
Yeah.
It's tough. And the fact that if you would have told me that we would have been at the point in the calendar where both the NBA and NHL would hypothetically have their season done, and we still don't have live sports, yet both of them have a plan happening to kick off even after their original season's done, and they're adjusting down the line with like future season start dates. Like, I would have said, oh, with baseball, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it's baseball. They shoot themselves in the foot all the time. It's a shame. And especially with the CBA up and all these things, it's going to be a tough road back.
It's just wild. I mean, you have the NBA set to return on July 31st. You have the NFL in talks to be on schedule for their regular season. Soccer is already back overseas in Europe without any fans. There's goddamn baseball in Japan. Like, how difficult can it be to come to an agreement to actually put a product on the field? Like, it can't be that difficult. But there's so much greed, and there's so much just, I want to get whatever I need, or I want to get as much as I can from the other side so that I don't lose out, but it doesn't matter what happens to the players, even though they're like the main part of the product. Like, I just don't understand it. It is June 4th today on Thursday, and like, if they don't come to an agreement in the next like week and a half, 2 weeks, like, I really don't think there's going to be baseball, because you got to think you need at least, I would say, 2 weeks to ramp up for a season to get the players back in shape. So that leaves you into July at this point. And like, unless they play like the 50-game season, like, I really don't think there's going to be baseball. And at this point, if they're going to play 50 games, don't even have a season, in my opinion. Like, just screw it.
Yeah, and when you talk about possibly that timeline, you're talking about now running into the NBA, who, in my opinion, has, out of them and the NHL, the NBA has the better system.
Yeah.
In terms of what they're going to do from here
You
on
said
out.
NBA or NHL?
The NBA.
Yeah, agreed.
And the NBA will always and automatically take precedence anywhere else, although people in this town won't agree for obvious reasons because of the Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. Without an NBA team here, no one's really going to watch. But the fact of the matter is, nationally, the NBA is head over heels over the NHL in terms of popularity. Mm-hmm. And when they come back, the NBA, they're just going to supersede anything that Major League Baseball does. If you're talking about 50 regular season games that are going to essentially just point to be meaningless. 50 games isn't enough to decide it's going to go to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. 50. You're talking about 50 games. Last year, 50 games. The Washington Nationals were 8 games under 500.
Yeah, the Pirates were
one of the World Series.
Pirates were 500.
Yeah, like 50 games ain't enough to decide a team. It ain't enough to decide a baseball team. But again, it all comes down to the fact that the system's broken. A capitalist league, it's all about getting the most out of your dollars. Mm-hmm. That's why Scott Boras gets all of his clients to free agency, because he wants them to capitalize on their value. That's why the owners consistently cut their roster, trim their roster to try and not pay these players, because they're trying to recoup as many dollars as possible. We're not stupid. And this jagaloon of an owner for the Cubs thinks we are. We're not morons. We've seen all the info out there except for the books. That'll solve all the problems. It will. But they won't do it, and I know why. Because if they do, we'll see that their losses aren't as big as they say they are.
Yeah, they won't open their books as much as the players will never want anything like a salary cap. Like, that is each of their core values. Both of those aren't budging. And it's just, it makes matters worse when you come out of this with no baseball at the end of it, likely, with insulted players, so insulted product, who's had to sit there and be like, what? You're going to cut my salary 70%? And insulted players, like minor league systems destroyed, and that like pain is for those are going to like sting long term. You're having like a bunch of minor league players lose their salary, everything like that. So players insulted, pissed off. Fans, the fact that like we've just been drug around with this for like 2.5 months, like that's exhausting. We're pissed off, we're frustrated, and owners are just here saying, hey, you guys don't understand what's going on. So this was, it's just airing out the dirty laundry, and, it's just a really long breakup that I feel like I was drug along with. So
you don't think baseball, Brooksy?
What?
You don't think baseball's going to happen?
No.
Mac.
Beats me to my question. I ask it every week. Is there going to be baseball this year?
No. I don't think so.
I'm still holding hope.
I'm glad somebody is.
Me too.
Carry us along.
I can't do it anymore, man. Like I said at the beginning of the show, you guys know me. I'm an optimistic person. I always think on the positive side of things. But the more news that comes out, the more days that carry on, I don't think we'll have baseball this year. I really, really don't think we're going to have baseball this year.
Yeah, we don't even know where they're at in terms of understanding logistics.
Yeah.
Dre shared.
The money is like the first part. Like, that's just the first part.
Mm-hmm. Willingness, not all these little points of, oh, yeah, we're going to have the wait, who was it, Dre? It was the TV and the radio.
The TV and radio announcers.
Spend away games locally.
Yeah.
And watch the simulcast and communicate on that. Like, it's a mess.
Oh, and here's another crazy part regarding baseball, at least for teams in Texas. Their stadiums will be at 50% capacity. Texas governor issued that statement saying we plan to have stadiums at 50% capacity, which is an increase from 2 weeks ago when it was at 25. which tells me that there's money right there coming back in those owners' pockets.
Yeah.
So if anything, maybe them owners can say, you know what? And obviously they're in a different situation than the other ones, but maybe they're like, oh, hey, like if we're going to have 50% capacity, our loss aren't going to be that bad. So maybe we can play some of these players a little bit extra. Maybe they can police some of their players to get more money. The guys in Houston who is kind of funny, I guess, ironic when you consider that 50% capacity is actually going to hurt that team because they're going to get booed to hell. But even in their home stadium, they're just going to get booed. But like teams like them, the Rangers, like who else am I missing in Texas, baseball-wise? Or is that it?
Just those two.
Oh, that's it. I thought there was more. Maybe
it's a big state. Understandable.
It is. I can't believe there's only two.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I want to say yeah, just because I can't imagine a year without baseball, but realistically, it's looking very unlikely, and it's sad because it's all about greed.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it in one of these Groundhog Day episodes, but like if it was one scenario where I don't know what to compare it to, but it's like, okay, we know that we're going to be able to play baseball through the fall. Mm-hmm. And with something like this virus, it's like, well, owners, I'm sure, are being super cautious where they're like, if this comes back and we're paying full salary or like the prorated full salaries, like we're going to get like skewered and done. And the fact that like nobody is certain that it won't come back in the fall and we won't be back where we were a month and a half ago. Yeah. And I feel like that is like making it a little bit more like tentative of what owners are willing to do. Like the fact that 50 games, like for a sport like baseball, like just thinking, okay, so that's like over a third less of their season. So that's like quick math. Oh dear. That's like the NFL playing like 4.5 games.
Yeah.
That's like the NBA playing what's 82, 81 divided by 3 is 20. So that's like the NBA playing 27, 28 games. Same with hockey. Like it's just a farce. It's a joke.
Not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Not worth it at all.
Not worth it at all. But you know, even if there isn't baseball this season, I'm going to transition here. I don't know if we were done with that topic, but I'm going to transition because I can't. Just the situation is just, it's frustrating.
It's messed up.
But even if there isn't baseball in 2020, it doesn't look like it will matter for Chris Archer of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He got surgery earlier this week for thoracic outlet syndrome to relieve symptoms for thoracic outlet syndrome. He's got an option, club option, correct, Dre?
Yes.
For
11 million. For an 11 million for 2021. So Chris Archer could be done in Pittsburgh, possibly, depending on what the club decides to do. He was traded for
He was traded
Glasnow, Meadows, and Boz.
Yeah. It's Austin Meadows, fucking Glasnow, right?
Mm-hmm. Tyler Glasnow.
I'm sorry, guys. It's getting late. I'm
It's okay.
My brain hurt. How bad is, like, after everything has kind of settled down over the last few years, how bad of a transaction was this for Pittsburgh?
Well, don't forget, as bad as this trade was, don't forget that while they traded great prospects for Chris Archer, they also received mediocre prospects for Garrett Cole. So I think when you look at them side by side, I don't know if there's been much worse trades in baseball history happening within like 7 months of each other.
No, that was like a 2-year difference.
Really?
Yeah, they traded Cole in 16,
No, Cole was traded the same weekend that Kutch was.
No.
Cole was traded in 2018, the January 2018.
Oh wait, wow, it is 2020. Jesus. I'm thinking it's 2019. You can see I'm going crazy.
Yeah, so his last season was 2017, and he's played 2018 and 2019 elsewhere. And then the Archer trade was 2 years ago.
Yeah, and my stance about the Archer trade is sort of convoluted, in the sense that it's a terrible trade. Obviously, you evaluate it based off of hindsight, and in hindsight, you have Tyler Glass now, who is 100% blossomed into a nice young starting pitcher like he was supposed to here. We saw the talent. You just couldn't put it together with his control. Now, I believe that him going to Tampa was the only franchise that was going to save his career.
Yeah.
They've had a track record of handling tall, lanky pitchers who can't necessarily control their body to repeat their mechanics for their lineup and their stretch and things like that. Examples of that are Jeremy Hellickson, who's made a ton of money and still in baseball despite his mediocrity. And Alex Cobb is another one, just for anyone else who's out there thinks that I just think Jeremy Hellickson is the best. You have that. You have Meadows, who made an all-star team. So there's that. And then Shane Buzz, who's now ranked 71 in Baseball America for their top 100 prospects. Chris Archer last year had a 5 ERA over 5. That's just not good. They didn't get the same Chris Archer they had. And now the convoluted part is that I really do commend the Pirates for actually going after someone like Chris Archer and actually paying the price, because throughout their past, even when they were good in seasons 2013 to 15, they never did that. They never actually threw all their chips in. I thought it was a weird trade in the sense that they went for it at a time where that team, in my opinion, was not ready to essentially compete. But it was a move for the now and the immediate future due to his contract, where it's very affordable. So that's really the only silver lining from it. But in the end, I still think it's the second worst trade between that one and the Garrett Cole trade. I think the Garrett Cole trade is, I think it's worse. I think it's much worse than the Archer trade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was hoping that this was going to be his year, after the pitching coach change, because when he was in Tampa, he had kind of a different approach. It was all he's going for the strikeout pitch. In Pittsburgh, it was, induced contact, things like that. So I was really hoping that he was going to kind of have a turnaround year this year with just kind of that different approach with a new pitching coach and things like that. And you never know. They might pick up his option and see what happens. But, I don't see it. I think Chris Archer might be done in Pittsburgh. $11 million of money.
It's the same ailment that rocked Matt Harvey, too.
Yeah.
Can't pronounce it, but I know it's.
He might lose a little pop on his fastball.
Yeah, and the fact
he was
that
never the same.
Yeah, he was never the same.
I think he made maybe
he had two or three back-to-back really good years. Then he kind of just dropped off. It seemed like.
Yeah, he was the man out there. They call him the Dark Knight out in the Gotham City, New York Mets, the Metropolitans. I'm with you, Mac. I think he could have had a really big bounce back year, because watching Chris Archer, his stuff was still sort of there.
Yeah.
It's just weird because, watching him, it was like he just sort of lost himself, but you saw flashes of it. It was like they traded Tyler Glasnow for an older version of Tyler Glasnow. It was crazy, but you saw what he did in his past. I mean, he was when they traded him at the time, he had the most strikeouts. He was top 5 in current players in strikeouts. That was him. He was a wipeout kind of pitcher, but somewhere along the way, he kind of just lost himself. And Pittsburgh didn't do him any favors with the new regime and everything. I had a lot of hopes for him. Not like Cy Young type hopes.
Yeah.
Not even not even like top of the rotation stuff, but I thought he could definitely. I thought that ERA could have went down. I thought it could have been like 3.5 because the stuff was there. Like I saw it. It's just a matter of changing the whole philosophy, which is what they were gonna do. But now he gets his surgery. It kind of sucks. He's gonna. If they don't pick up his option, it's gonna be a prove-it deal wherever he goes. And odds are he'll thrive because that's what happens.
100%. I can see it 100%. All right, guys. That is all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Heart of the Order, brought to you by thoughtsfromthebench.com. We got to come up with a sponsor for Heart of the Order, like something funny I can say at the end of each episode. Like brought to you. What's that? Brought to you by Brooksy's Nail Clippers.
Brought to you by Gwitch Toenail Clippers.
Toenail Clippers. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again for another episode. We'll see you next week.
Well.